talking about fire safety and some basic rules in case of a fire in your client's home. Fires at home are typically caused by smoking, or maybe the client fell asleep with a lit cigarette, fell down onto the floor, and you noticed, or the carpet went up in flames. There are these three things: oxygen, fuel, and sparks, that are required for a fire to start and to be continued to grow. Obviously, there's nothing we're doing about the oxygen. The oxygen is in the air that we breathe. We cannot not have oxygen in the air. What you can do is you can contain it. You can shut doors. You can put lids over things to eliminate the excess oxygen that is in other parts of the house. Some of your residents are going to have oxygen that they wear every single day, and they'll have a nasal cannula, and this oxygen is constantly blowing. Those residents should not be smoking. However, there are many of those residents who do continue to smoke. Oxygen is flammable, so if you end up in a situation where you are going into a resident's home or client's home, and you notice that they are on oxygen as well as they are smoking, or there are people in the house smoking, you need to notify your agency that this situation is present and it may not be safe for you to continue to go into the home. There may be some education that needs to be done by the nurse, but you need to make the agency and the nurse aware of that situation. Fuel is just something to burn. Some of the homes that you're going to go into as a home health aide is going to be quite messy. There's going to be a lot of trash potentially. This is not every home health aide or home health client that you're going to take care of. This is not their home per se, but there are going to be quite a few that you're going to go into. Some homes are going to be kind of hoarderish, where there's pathways from this room to this room and that room to that room, and you cannot get anywhere but the pathway because of stuff. I went into a home one time, and literally up to my shoulder there was trash, other than the path that he had created. So that is a lot of fuel. If a fire starts in that home, or a home of similar nature, it's going to burn very quickly, so you need to be aware of that and understand what you're going to do in the event that occurs, before it occurs. And then there needs to be some sort of a spark. So maybe it's the smoking, the ashes. Maybe there's a fireplace mantle that they have in the wintertime. They put the fire on, and maybe they haven't cleaned the flue, so there's a problem with the ability for the heat to escape the house. Maybe it's the oven is turned on and is left on for too long, and it becomes too hot, and it sparks and ignites a fire within the stove. So there's quite a few different things you need to know could cause fires. And being in the home, you're going to see that a little bit more than somebody who's in a residence, a long-term care facility. When you go into a residence home for the first time, you need to take a look around. You need to figure out an exit plan. Every single place you go into, you need to know, how am I going to get out if the front door that I just walked through is not available? Do they live in a 2-story house, a 3-story house? Do they have a basement that potentially you're going to be caught in, or they're going to be caught in if there should be a fire? How would you exit the home by an alternate route? You need to have ideas. You need to have a plan in place. Also, you need to look for the little white box that's up in the corner of your screen. That is a it's a smoke alarm. And those need to be tested on a monthly basis. That is not your job to test, but as a home health aide, that potentially could be something that you are asked to assist with, and that would be within your responsibility then if you were asked to help change the batteries within that. They're typically on the ceiling or maybe at the top, on the wall at the very top, so as the smoke would rise, it would pick it up. The number one rule for any fire is you need to get yourself and your client out. Plain and simple, that's the most important thing. There's nothing in that house that you need to worry about. There's nothing in that house that your resident or client needs to worry about. However, that is their home, and they are going to be pretty concerned about the things in their home. But it's your job to ensure the client's safety. So you're going to get out as quickly as possible. You're going to call 911. Some of your clients are going to have a life alert button, either a pendant that they wear around their neck or a pendant on their wrist, or a button somewhere in the house that you can press for emergencies. That would be one way to notify, but you still have to call 911. As you're going out the doors and going from one room to another, if there is a door shut, you need to make sure that you feel that door and see if it's hot. If it's hot, do not go out that door. Choose another way because the fire is right outside. If you open the door, all the oxygen from the room you're in is now going to feed the fire, and it's going to explode into a larger fire. Make sure you use the alternate route. Do not go through the flames of a fire, even if they seem to be pretty little. Find a different way out of the house. And then keep all the doors closed, so as you're coming out, close doors to help eliminate the oxygen source for the fire that is burning. Do not use elevators. I doubt you see any elevators in your clients' homes. Could happen, but I doubt you do, but don't use them. They may have a chair that goes up and down the stairs, depending on where the fire is, depending on certain other things. That may or may not be an appropriate way to get them out of the house by using that chair. If you use it, you need to use it with caution. If you can avoid using it, I would recommend avoid using it. Don't waste time trying to put the fire out. If any of your clothing, yours or the resident's clothing, catches on fire, you're going to stop, drop, and roll. You're going to try to pat out the fire with a blanket or something on your client. Obviously, if they lay down, stop, drop, and roll, they're not getting up very easily. So I would not recommend that for the client, but for you. And don't ever go back into the burning house. You're going to want to, if you can, some of these smaller fires, a grease fire or a food fire that is sitting on a burner and it's inside of a pan, cover the pan. That's going to eliminate the oxygen. It's going to remove the fire, hopefully. If the microwave oven, if there's a fire in there, if you or your client put something metal in there, turned it on, and it blew up and it's contained within the microwave, don't open the door. Oven fire, same thing. Don't open the door, and make sure you turn the stove off. Turn off any burner, any source of continued heat to that particular area. But then still, get out of the house. Sometimes that will work, trying to enclose the fire. Sometimes it does not, and you still need to get out. You'll want to call 911 as soon as you are outside. So you're going to call 911. You're going to remain calm. You're going to give the name, the location of where you're at. You're going to need to know off the top of your head where you are. So what is the address? What's the building number? What's the room number? What are some major crossroad streets? You're going to need to know that, because the information that you're going to need to tell the 911 operator is inside the house burning at that particular time. So make sure you know that off the top of your head. You're going to need to let them know where the fire is at within the home, the back of the house, in the kitchen, in the basement, wherever it is. Let them know kind of a general vicinity so they know where to go when they get there. And then tell them what phone number you're using, if it's your cell phone, if it's the neighbor's house, that kind of stuff. When you discover a fire, RACE, this acronym is very important. You need to remember this, and you will need to remember this for the state certification exam. I'm pretty sure you get tested over this one. So RACE anytime you come in contact with a fire, you remove the resident from harm, you activate the alarm or call 911, you contain the fire, and then you get the extinguisher to extinguish the fire. Those are the pieces in order that you need to do. Fire extinguishers, I don't know if any of you have used a fire extinguisher before, but there are a couple different kinds. The main type you're going to use is this class ABC fire extinguisher. It's the standard fire extinguisher that you see pretty much anywhere, but it'll have the ABC on there. And basically it's telling you that A is for wood or paper or clothing, B is for liquids, gasoline, paints, and C is on electrical fire. You wouldn't want to put water on an electrical fire, but you could do water on a wood fire. So you don't want to use water, you want to try to have one of these appropriate extinguishers. So that's something when you're in the home, before the fire happens, you need to find out, do they have a fire extinguisher in the home? What type is it and where is it at? And has it been used before? Because if it's been used, you need to replace it. You don't, but you need to make sure it gets replaced. And then to use the fire extinguisher, you're going to use this acronym, PASS. Again, another acronym you will be tested on. It is how to use the extinguisher. So you're going to pull the pin that holds the handle together or apart, and when you pull that pin, it allows it to be movable so that you can now use it. Then you're going to aim the nozzle. That black thing is the nozzle on that extinguisher. You're going to aim that. It's very flexible. You're going to aim it towards the base of the fire, and then you're going to squeeze the handle, and you're just in a very fast sweeping motion back and forth at the base of the flames. You're going to spray. White foam's going to come out. It's going to cover the base of the fire, or it's going to cover that base of the fire, and it's going to decrease the oxygenation that is getting to the fire, so therefore the fire will be put out. So that is what you're going to do when you have a resident or a client in the home and you are taking care of them and there is a fire. You need to be very, very careful. Most important thing you need to do is have a plan, and have that plan, discuss it with the residents so everybody is on the same page. Maybe even discuss it with the family members of, if there's a fire, what are our steps, so that we all know what we're going to do and how it's going to happen, so that you increase the safety of yourself as well as the client, and everybody just knows what's going on. So that is it. You guys have a great day. Hope that was helpful.